So, hello, greetings. I thought I'd make another short video about a radionuclide topic. It's again cesium-137. And yeah, we are living here quite close to the Austrian border in Germany. And this region is quite famous for the contamination of cesium-137 during the Chernobyl nuclear power plant accident. Of course, there's also weapons testing cesium around here, but that is according to scientific literature, which I can link in the video description, in larger depths of the soil. And the Chernobyl cesium-137 should be in the upper layers of the soil, and I was just curious when I investigate the soil, for instance here in our garden, which is disturbed soil because of all the gardening activities we've been done here in the last decades. And if I compare this to undisturbed soil within the woods, if I make a hiking trip into the nearby woods there, if I see maybe a difference, and where I can find the majority of cesium-137 if I take soil samples from different depths. So that's why I made this shovel here. So I did not make this shovel, I just make those markings here indicating the layers of 10 centimeters each. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40 centimeters. And so I chose some random spots around our village here and also in the nearby woods. And I really digged down to 60 centimeters. So taking quite some samples, quite some soil samples, and putting those into this Marinelli geometry within my gamma spectrometer lead castle, which I have shown in the previous video. But this is all not giving me any becquerel per kilogram, right? So because I need an efficiency calibration. So I needed somehow to calibrate my system. And this is within the European Union, and being a private person, this is very difficult to get a calibration matrix or to construct a calibration matrix. So what I did as a workaround, I sent one soil sample which I have measured in my Marinelli geometry. I sent one of those soil samples to a professional lab and just asked them to define the becquerel per kilogram of the soil sample I sent to them. So before sending it to them, I sieved the material and homogenized it. What I did not do is to dry the material, as that's too much of a hassle to dry soil samples within our household. My wife will kill me if I will try to dry soil samples in the oven in the kitchen, for instance. So this is not feasible for me. So I sent this homogenized soil sample to the professional lab, and they measured it with their calibrated system and gave me back a activity for that soil sample. But they also indicated to me, as the soil sample was not dried or has not been dried, that the error bars of that soil sampling for me in the future will be around 25% in each direction. So quite large error bars, but at least I have some semi-quantitative quantification now. So at least one calibration point with quite some error bars. So that's around the quantification, and the result I can show you now in a minute. It's 4 spots. So the first spot is on the upper left, in the upper left corner. There you can see the soil sample being taken from our garden here, being disturbed soil by gardening activities. And there we can see the biggest or the highest cesium-137 content in a depth of around 30 to 40 centimeters, which is to be expected because of all the gardening activities and mixing up the soil all the time for so many years. But interestingly, in the undisturbed samples, which are the other three, pictures you can see on the upper right corner and the lower left and lower right corner, you can see undisturbed forest samples, and there you can see that the majority of the cesium-137 is really in the top 10 centimeter range, and that's really interesting. And also that the activity is not homogeneous, so it's really, there's a quite difference in those areas. So you have areas where it's round about 150 to 200 becquerel per kilogram, but also other areas or other parts of the woods where you can find up to 1000 becquerel per kilogram. I think this is quite interesting. So in a nutshell, really the biggest surprise for me is that in undisturbed soils you can really see that the majority of the cesium-137 is in the top, still in the top layers, and that the migration speed of cesium-137 is so low, it moves so slow within the soil, and which is of course then a problem for certain parts of the woods where you have wild boar or certain mushrooms which accumulate those the cesium-137 quite bad still today, right? So thought this is interesting. Anyway, so that's it in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and take care. Bye bye.